Good day, and welcome to the WANA Webinar Series. Thank you for joining, and please welcome Anita from Clubhouse International.
Thank you so much, and good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to everyone wherever you are located in our Clubhouse community, and welcome to this webinar today. So what we will focus on today is the strength of coalitions and how coalition can support and coordinate mentorship and training for the local clubhouses. We have a tradition in our Clubhouse community of sharing best practices, and that is what we hope to do today as well. Comprehensive training is and has always been our core Clubhouse training opportunity on the Clubhouse model. But as new staff and members join the Clubhouse world on a regular basis, new Clubhouses opens, it can be a challenge to ensure comprehensive training for new colleagues right away, or finding additional training opportunities to meet the training need of our Clubhouses and support the growth. We will hear today how Coalition can support this sharing of knowledge and high-quality practices by supporting mentorships between members and staff, and also Clubhouses, both new and well-established. We will see how Coalition have established a system of support for Clubhouses and how this can lead to a fast growth of strong accredited Clubhouses. Since early 2022, we at Clubhouse International have coordinated a network for coalitions, and we currently have 25 recognized Clubhouse coalitions and associations in this network. Our coalition group has formed multiple working groups whose purpose is to look into how we can support each other in the work we do from and with coalitions. This is an interesting topic, and this is a way forward when we strive for supporting the opening of new and more Clubhouses. I'm looking forward to learning from our experienced presenters today, and I'm pleased to welcome our colleagues from Clubhouse Norway and Clubhouse Ohio. And without further ado, let me first hand this over to Clubhouse Norway.
Thank you, Anita, and hello, everyone. My name is Marta Helene, and I work for the Norwegian Coalition. And with me today, I have Clubhouse Fredrikstad and Clubhouse Ålesund. We want to talk about how we use the community of clubhouses in Norway to build strong clubhouses. It lives 5.5 million people in Norway, and we have had a huge growth in clubhouses. We have gone from 8 to 22 clubhouses in the last 8 years. Each clubhouse, both the new and old ones, has, of course, its own responsibility to participate in comprehensive training and to develop the organization in-house. The Norwegian Coalition contributes to and supports the establishment of new clubhouses, and we recommend that they go to comprehensive training during the first year. But we see that it often takes more than a year before they have the possibility to go. So it's important for the clubhouses to also use the network when they are learning the clubhouse model. We have a strong clubhouse community in Norway, and the Norwegian Coalition has an active role in building this network and to contribute to strengthening the quality. We arrange national seminars, we have a director and board development program, and every second week we have national digital subject meetings where the clubhouses share experiences from projects and different topics from the work of the day. We also coordinate different national projects where the clubhouses work together. And the last years, the new clubhouses in Norway have asked for more guidelines. So we have together with the clubhouses made guidelines for job and study support, the guidelines for new clubhouses, and also the mentor house program. And we have started to use Teams as a sharing platform. There we can share different documents and best practice, but also more low-key sharing. For example, it have been used when a clubhouse wanted to see an example of a kitchen unit board, and other clubhouses share pictures in Teams for everyone to see. Next slide, please. The results of the strong network we have is that the clubhouses in Norway share knowledge and help each other getting better. It's easier to ask for help from someone you know, and the clubhouses visit and call each other, and they have projects together. And every new established clubhouse in Norway also gets its own mentor house in addition to follow up from the coalition. We help the new clubhouses to choose a mentor house. We think it's important that the mentor house knows the model well and has the capacity to follow up the new clubhouse. And the coalition knows all the directors and the clubhouses in Norway, and we try to make a good match so the mentor house complements the new clubhouse well. You will hear more about the mentor house program soon, but first I want to talk about how we use our results. In Norway, we have a shared membership database, and we have national surveys about employment and member satisfaction. And the results shows that Clubhouses works and supports the stories we hear and see in the clubhouses. And this gives credibility and shows quality, and it's very important for the Norwegian coalition when we work political to secure financial support from central government, and also when we want to establish new clubhouses. The results are also important for each clubhouse when they are working to secure financial support from local governments, and our experience in Norway is that we are stronger together, and we get visibility and awareness that would not have been possible without the strong network we have and the results we can show. And now Clubhouse Fredrikstad will tell you more about the Mentor House program.
Thank you. Hi, this is the House of Fredrikstad. I'm Christine, I'm the Clubhouse Director, and I got two beautiful colleagues with me. Who are you?
Yeah, I'm Katrine, and I'm a staff member here.
I am Frederick, and I am a member.
Nice to meet you all. We've been looking forward to this meeting. So we just want to say a little bit about us before we start on. We are a clubhouse that's been around for 2.5 years. We have now reached 240 members. Our strengths are the Young Adults program and the Diversity program. And we have about 34 in daily attendance in our clubhouse. And we were asked by the Coalition of Norway to be mentoring a new clubhouse, Ålesund. We are going to meet them afterwards. They have been around for 1 year less than us. But we are going to tell you a little bit about the Mentor House program because we are mentors for the new clubhouse Ålesund. And how do we make a good match? I don't know, but I think the Clubhouse Coalition of Norway, they figured we would be a good match because Ålesund and we are having same kind of culture in our city. And I think they figured that we would be a good match also because the Clubhouse directors have kind of the same background and interests, and maybe this will fit good together. So we were matched together. And I had to go to my clubhouse members and staff and ask them if we were willing to take on the challenge of being a mentor house for Ålesund. So I requested it in the house meeting, and we all agreed that this would be a really good challenge for us. And the members had so much to share with the new clubhouse. So when we established this agreement in our house, it was important for us to sit together and plan the visit. It was important for us that they took part in the house in just another day. We wanted to do it authentic, but also make the visit the time schedule. It was important for us to, pick the meetings and the guidance that we give during the day that will give Ålesund a good impression of how to build a strong clubhouse. For example, it was important for us to plan the visits so they would have part in the decision making, how to build a strong clubhouse and a good engagement in the work during the day, for example. So you can go to the next slide now, and we will tell you about the structure in the mentoring program. So when a new clubhouse in Norway are established, we have all the support system from the coalition that Marta Helene told us about, but also you are connected with another mentor house. And it lasts for about at least two years. And it's actually when you start working and the members are coming into the Clubhouse, that's actually when the questions occur. Yeah. So, I think it's important that it's not just a mentor program from director to director, but staff to staff, member to staff, member to member, staff to member. You know, you have to build a structure that are both formal and informal, and unit to unit, because after a new Clubhouse has visited the mentor house, that's actually when it's important to have a good connection, because when you struggle with, you know, kind of a topic, it's better for the unit to you know, for example, if the kitchen unit has a topic they want to discuss, it's better if they connect with the kitchen unit in the mentor house and address these problems together. So when we planned the visit, it was important for us to have just another day at the Clubhouse, keep it authentic. So Fredrik, you will tell us a little bit about this issue?
Yes. My own experience from being a totally new member at the Fountain House, the best way to learn and find out how the Clubhouse was organized was to observe, make relations, and just take part in the normal, ordinary day of the house, in the work-oriented day. When our Clubhouse in Fredrikstad had visit from Ålesund, they was included as a part of the ordinary staff. They hospitated in the daily tasks of our house in a natural way, and there is no extraordinary arrangement during the visit. When other Clubhouse hospitate, it's very good to just have an ordinary day because of the importance of the basic daily structure and daily tasks of the board meetings. And this is especially important if a brand new Clubhouse visiting a mentor house, when it comes to how to build up their own structure on the different units at the Fountain House. It's much easier to make good relations during a normal work-oriented day and get a better understanding what Fountain House is all about and how the structure is meant to be. I think there is a safety that the system or structure of a Fountain House is recognizable from Clubhouse to Clubhouse. If you visit Fontenehuset Rygge, Fontenehuset Ålesund, or Fontenehuset Fredrikstad, you will recognize the Fountain House model, and all of the Clubhouse operate with board meetings on the different units and are nearly about the same. In the end, I just want to add what the way Fountain House operate by being a mentor house for each other is also important cooperation side by side in a bigger scale. But still one of the big important ways the structure of the Clubhouse is meant to be. This is a good way to learn from each other as well to visit another Clubhouse.
Well said, Fredrik. I think that's so good. And it was also important for us, not just the structure, but the feeling of the Clubhouse, how to build a good, strong culture. That's really difficult to get a feeling of it when you're new. But Katrine, you're telling us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I was pretty new myself when Ålesund came to visit us. So I could really relate to the feeling of being new in the Clubhouse world. I think the most important when they came to visit us, I was telling them to just join in the work-oriented day and work side by side, and just to get to know the members and staff, because you can't build a good foundation if you don't know the members that's going to be a part of the Clubhouse. So like bonding and building good relations I think it's the most important thing to take on to a new Clubhouse. Yeah,
because it's really easy to just dive into the tasks. But you actually have to the strong culture you have to build. That's a fundament.
I think it's really important to get to know the people you're going to work with, because there is a large group, in the Clubhouse. So I was telling Ålesund that, and hopefully that's something they took back to their own Clubhouse.
So that's about our story, and now we are going to go all the way across the country of Norway to the fjords, to Ålesund. Elisabeth, hit it.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Hello from Ålesund, Norway. I'm Elisabeth, and I'm the director of Fountain House Ålesund. And I have with me these beautiful people.
My name is Anna.
And my name is Anders.
And we are quite a new clubhouse. We have been open for just 1.5 years, and we are about 70 members. And we want to share our experience as a new clubhouse and how important the mentor program has been for us. When I was hired as the director of Fountain House Ålesund, I had limited knowledge about how to run a clubhouse and about the clubhouse model. Therefore, knowledge and information were really important to me. So as a part of my training, I went on a 1-week tour of visiting various clubhouses in Norway, including our mentor house. To build knowledge and competence, and of course to build a social network. Through these visits, I made good contact with other directors who willingly share their experience and knowledge. As a new house, there is a lot of things to learn and a lot of information to keep track of. And our mentor house has been incredibly important in this phase. The fact that I, as a new director, can get do's and don'ts, tips and tricks, is incredibly valuable. Christina in Fredrikstad has shared information about important dates, reports, application forms, employment, and so on. A good example of our collaboration is when I had to write my first application and report to the Directory of Health, where we get our funding. I received good support and guidance from Christina. We had team meetings, support calls, and Christina even shared her previous reports and applications with me. Something that is really incredible, valuable, and time-saving information for me as a new director. But it's not just for the practical part that we have received good support from our mentor house. We have also received support and guidance for structuring our clubhouse, the importance of focusing on work meetings, the standards, and the work-oriented day. So through regular support talks, meetings, of course, participation in work-oriented day, we gained unique insights to the importance of building a good work-oriented culture from day one. The collaboration with our mentor house has helped me to be more stable in my role as a director, and I don't feel so alone, even though we are the only clubhouse in our region. But I think most importantly, it has contributed to an informal contact between the clubhouses for both staff and members, and has given our clubhouse a start with strengthened expertise and a sense of belonging with other clubhouses. And that's my perspective, and now we will hear from the other ones.
Hi guys, my name is Anna. I wanted to share my experience as a new staff member in a clubhouse that was just starting up. It's been quite a ride, and I owe a lot to the amazing support that I have received. Just imagine joining a new job, but this one is in a brand new clubhouse. It's like being in an uncharted territory, but I didn't have to navigate it alone. I got incredible support from my director, other clubhouses, enlightening hospitations, and loads of help from our mentor house. After my hospitation in Fredrikstad, I have reached out to our mentor house and my mentor unit, which is office and media, several times. We had calls, we have team meetings, and many emails. Whenever we have hits and obstacles, they are there to guide us. They help with statistics for funding, tips for our annual report, and even advised us when we were building our own website. And the best part is that this support came from both staff and clubhouse member. It's like a true team effort. Thanks to these supports, I now feel confident in my role and I connect with colleagues all over Norway. It's not just about our clubhouse, it's about being part of a larger and supportive community. So in a nutshell, starting in a new clubhouse has been quite the journey. It taught me the value of reaching out for help, embracing mentorship, and being part of a bigger picture. And now, Anders, we want to hear from you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Anna. Hi guys, I'm a member at the Ålesund Fountain House, and now I'm going to share my experience. So during our hospitations, I really appreciate the trust placed in me to learn from the clubhouses and the importance of bringing new knowledge from them back home, like how their youth program functions and how they get funding. It was encouraging that I had this opportunity to participate in the development of our clubhouse in this way, to see the things they had organized together, like the creative and study rooms. One of the clubhouses had their own clubhouse car, and our colleagues there happily shared with us how they got it. So we're eager to try this out ourselves. During these visits, we got to meet our fantastic colleagues who we never met before, who were happy to include us in their work-ordered day. It was a joy to experience the satisfaction that we both share, having the fortune to work in a clubhouse. If I'm going to sum it all up, is that we, as clubhouses, work better together when we help each other, share information, and communicate openly, leaving no one behind. The best way for your clubhouse to thrive is for every clubhouse to prosper together. Thank you.
Thank you from us.
Thank you, Fontenehuset Ålesund, and thank you, Fredrikstad and Fontenehus Norway. What a tremendous system and for support and inspiration you have set up around the clubhouses in Norway. It's great to hear and very inspiring. Now we will move not only across the country, but across the Atlantic Ocean to Clubhouse, Ohio. So take it away, James.
Everybody, I'm James Weiniger, coming to you from Magnolia Clubhouse. I'm the director of Clubhouse Ohio, our coalition here in Ohio, and wanted to just start off by, got a few slides to show as well, and talk about the story of clubhouses in Ohio. And this first slide will go to, we'll actually show the first three right after this slide, actually. The three accredited clubhouses have been around and established in Ohio for quite some time. Magnolia Clubhouse here in Cleveland. Some of you might know Lori D'Angelo, our executive director. She's been here in leadership positions since the 1990s. There's a little bit of a formatting issue there on this slide. Sorry about that. But so soon after she was hired here as an executive director, the accreditation process, of course, was just early in it, and for Clubhouse International was getting going in the mid to late 90s. So Magnolia's been accredited since 1999, I think is what that slide should say. Well-established program, leadership in this part of the country, and certainly in Ohio. So we're really lucky, and I think this will play out in our story of the coalition as well, to have two other accredited clubhouses and not clumped all together in the state. In the middle of Ohio, you'll see the dot there. That represents Pathway Clubhouse, accredited since 2018, but been around, and Teresa, the executive director there, has actually been there since 1990. So again, lots of strong leadership in clubhouses across Ohio. Miracle Clubhouse, about 10 years in existence, accredited since 2016. And Kathy Trick, again, has been in leadership there since the very beginning. So when we get to our version of mentoring, which, by the way, I love that Mentor House program in Norway. I was taking notes. I think there's a lot we can all learn from kind of formalizing that ability to mentor each other and all be stronger. So that'll be a theme, I think, as you hear the rest of our story. The next slide here will show, we'll talk a little bit about the clubhouse expansion. So starting last spring, Lori, with the help of others advocating in Ohio, we're able to tap into some startup funding through the Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services here in Ohio provided startup funding along with technical assistance, which is the position that I'm helping with and the leadership of the coalition. So that happened spring of last year. So we're really, for these 6 clubhouses now, brand new, 0 to 10 or whatever the number might be at this point. Most of these clubs are just around their 1-year mark. Queen City Clubhouse, you'll hear from in a minute, I think just celebrated their 1-year anniversary of opening their doors and working with the very first members of that group. So really exciting time to be in Ohio. And I think you'll hear some more examples of kind of how we have worked as a coalition to help not just the startups, but also the 3 existing clubhouses. So on this next slide, we'll kind of jump into, what we've kind of boiled down. And if you're from another coalition, yeah, I took this from some of the work I've done in other parts of the country. You might recognize these as common priorities for coalitions working, clubhouses working with coalitions in other areas. And I think it's a great way to just focus the work in on what are our top priorities. Obviously, promoting quality programs, which for clubhouses really has to, the conversation has to include accreditation by Clubhouse International. And that's what distinguishes, in lots of areas in this country, it distinguishes between places that maybe have bits and pieces of Clubhouse, but not the full array of Clubhouse services that we know as accredited clubhouses. Obviously supporting new clubhouses. One of the big ways we do that is through our advocacy efforts and continued coaching and connection to sustainable funding. We'll talk about that here in the next slide, or in a couple of slides after this one. So getting ready for the seminar, we were talking about how coalitions specifically could help around building strong leadership teams. And if you think about very early days of a clubhouse, a lot of times staffing is not even figured out yet. There may just be a working group, or there may be 1 or 2 staff may be identified, but if that's not in place, it's really hard to even think about accreditation or even going to training. So that 2-week training, you have to have kind of a core group already in mind, and so here's a place to really start thinking about that. Everybody on the team, top to bottom, stakeholders of all sorts, really have to be vested in and buy into the model, and the clubhouse model. So, and of course, the standards are that path to accreditation. And I think this came up in the Norway story, and really incorporate the learning of the culture and kind of absorbing the standards and the kind of the why behind the standards. Incorporate that into the work of the day, very early days, especially. I think it's important, but also in existing clubhouses. That's how, as new people come in and that onboarding process happens, that's how we share the culture and build a strong culture across time in any clubhouse. So, all right, let's jump to the next slide. I think here's kind of an example that came up here in Ohio where staffing is a big concern, and how do you and I think you'll hear from Natalie in Queen City about kind of her learning curve a little bit, and from not being from a clubhouse background and taking on this assignment. So, what are kind of the key elements? And if you do look at the standards, what would you find there? And I thought it was kind of interesting. We don't have a page in our 4-page document that says how to staff a clubhouse. But if you read it, staff is mentioned a bunch of times, 18 times. In fact, I went through and actually counted. It's really mentioned, and there's other references. A lot of our standards start by the phrase either clubhouse or the clubhouse. And in our community, that means members and staff primarily. There's others that might come in and be part of our community, but the clubhouse will do certain things is kind of how our standards are worded. 9, 10, and 11 really focus in, I think, on some of the core elements of building strong teams from the unit level to your administrative and especially in an auspice. I think it's important for a CEO or board level people to really have this understanding as well that role for members and staff in a clubhouse is very different than what they may be familiar with in other types of mental health programs. So we've spent a little bit of time as a coalition helping coach around these standards in particular. So next slide, I think we're going to move into this idea about mentoring, right? For me, I think about all the different ways that we really try to have opportunities for mentorship. And right off the bat here, we did a couple of things when I first got to Ohio with Lori and the rest of the existing Clubhouse leadership. We really talked about getting every single startup person and team, startup working group to go to that new Clubhouse development that's offered by Clubhouse International. It's a 2-day Zoom, 2.5 day maybe. It's really high quality, and they especially have a good piece around the important role of the director and what those skill sets need to look like and how critical that role is for our communities. And also going to the seminar, getting training opportunities. We went back to the state after they provided startup funding and got funding available. So actually every clubhouse in Ohio was represented at the seminar in Baltimore last year. So that's another great chance. I think a lot of our folks that went to that were able to start some networking and get some relationships going, those mentoring relationships that exist now outside of the state of Ohio. And one of the newer things we're doing, as I was talking to other coalition leaders and places like Indiana, Mike and I were talking about, what is he doing for kind of that in between or until someone can get to the 2-week training. And they're doing a 1-week version of this. We're doing a 2-day, full 2 days of Clubhouse orientation is what we're calling this, and it's very similar to what you heard Norway talk about with their mentor house, kind of the list of things and the way they structure that. But we see that as a time really just to spend time in an accredited clubhouse and really be able to learn from each other. And I know that's valuable for the new folks, but I'll tell you, it's also very valuable for the hosting clubhouse. We've had a couple of those at Magnolia, one down in Dayton, and we've got one we're planning to do in the future in Columbus as well. But that's a really good experience to build those relationships, see that as they said, that the feeling of the clubhouse and just spend time in that culture, I think is really the best way to learn and to implement the culture in your own clubhouse. So obviously not trying to replace the 2-week. We've also got funding for that. The coalition with advocacy we kind of built that into year 1 for every clubhouse, and we are working really closely with the training bases to make sure that we get every clubhouse in Ohio an opportunity to go through that 2-week comprehensive. No replacing that. So we want to keep that as a priority as well. And just some basic, the last couple of points on the slide are just some really practical ways when people say, hey, can you send me an example of a job listing for a culinary unit or an employment focused staff person? So we do that a lot. And we've done that actually with clubhouses around the country. Are also asking for things like that, and just best practices around, even if it's just handbook, policy and procedures that, of course, every state is a little different, and every clubhouse, even within states, might be different when it comes to what their actual handbooks might look like. But we're happy to share those best practices as well. Oh yeah, I just think I've got like 1 or 2 more slides maybe. And actually, this is my last slide, and then we'll get to hear from the folks at Queen City Clubhouse. But just to kind of tie back into that, I think, probably right next to that training and support and guiding clubhouses around the accreditation process. You can't really do that if you don't have sustainable funding, and kind of, so that really is at the top of our list as well. Here in Ohio, we've been able to tap into a federal mechanism of funding for sustainable funding, and through the Medicaid healthcare system here in this country. A lot of states here, and I've worked in several other states at clubhouses that don't have this set up in a way that they can tap into without changing the culture of the clubhouse. But we are super lucky here, and again, thanks to leadership with Lori and others that have advocated for a way for clubhouses to tap into that billing mechanism that has provided an avenue for sustainable funding. So again, a top priority for the coalition, and something we're continuing to work on as these new groups get kind of up and running. So that's pretty much it. Obviously, building relationships with, we had the mayor of Cleveland over a few weeks ago. We're looking always as a clubhouse and as a coalition to build those relationships with influential people, and whatever their role is, that can direct financial support to clubhouse programs, no matter what stage you're in. So that's a quick rundown on what the priorities as far as the coalition is concerned with, and I look forward to hearing from what's going on in other parts of the world, and if there's questions, eager to see what's on people's minds today. But right now, I'm going to pass it over to Natalie and Rick, who are way across the other side of Ohio, down on the south end of our state, and let's hear from Natalie and Rick.
Hi, so I'm Natalie.
Hi, I'm Rick.
And I am the director of Queen City Clubhouse in Cincinnati, Ohio.
And I'm Rick, and I'm a member of the Queen City Clubhouse in Ohio.
Yes, and just a little bit about me. We do also have some PowerPoint slides, so we might need those as well. But I did not even know what a clubhouse was in January of 2022. I was on the board of directors for what is now our auspice agency. We found this grant from the state of Ohio to start a clubhouse. Of course, our board was absolutely on board with applying. We were given the grant. And then what is now our executive director and now my boss sought me out and said, hey, I think you would be a great fit for a clubhouse director. I said, well, I don't know what the model is. I've never been to a clubhouse. I said, but from the little bit I've learned, I am absolutely ready to do that. So I came on in May of 2022, and then we opened in August of 2022. We just celebrated our first anniversary. We have over 250 members. We gain about 30 new members each month. And we serve about 40 members each day. So from my perspective, and I think another important thing to note is where our clubhouse is located now was previously more of like a social rec drop-in kind of program. So we've also been doing some transition from a different program to the clubhouse model. But from my perspective and how the coalition has helped me as a clubhouse director is what I've learned from my colleagues at other clubhouses is that I have to set the tone for the clubhouse culture. In not so many words, it's even in the standards that the clubhouse director is the bottom line for the clubhouse. And that means that I have to learn the model in theory, and I have to learn the model in practice. So as soon as I heard about Clubhouse model, I was online doing research, reaching out to people on Facebook, just learning as much as I could about what this meant. But I just kept thinking, I said, this just seems like too much common sense. There's no way this is going to work. And I'll never forget the first time that I went to Miracle Clubhouse in Dayton, and I said, oh my goodness, not only does this work, but this is saving people's lives. So I was lucky enough to get to attend the new Clubhouse training through Clubhouse International with a work group, which again, just strengthened my knowledge of the model. And then I just made intentional effort to visit accredited clubhouses in Ohio. So I shadowed work units, I shadowed individual members, I shadowed individual staff members, I shadowed the clubhouse director, I just attended general meetings. I just ate lunch. I was in the community. And so I did far more than just kind of that typical tour and lunch. I really engaged myself as much as I could. And now, like, for example, I was just in Columbus a couple of weeks ago for something else, but I was like, hey, I have to drop in and at least spend some time there because now this is such a strong part of my community outside of even just our clubhouse in Cincinnati. And I think then is being intentional about keeping in regular contact. We are blessed in Ohio to have a coalition where often clubhouse directors or clubhouses are reaching out to us and checking on us and making sure we have the things we need. James does especially an intentional effort of that. And that has been huge because we talk a lot about when you're kind of in your clubhouse work order day each day, you kind of start to lose, the forest through the trees. So to be able to go to a different clubhouse and see the way that they're running their work order day, see their culture, see their initiatives has been huge in helping us to keep the model and to continue to grow our clubhouse and grow our work order day, which we've had to do slowly over time. One, because we've grown so quickly, and two, because again, we're kind of transitioning from a different program. The next one is that learning or recognizing the importance of me putting aside my ego for the betterment of my community. That we as a clubhouse, we need feedback. We're new. We are lucky to have a staff member who was previously a member of a clubhouse. And we do have a new member who was also previously a member of Genesis Clubhouse, which is going to be so helpful for us. But outside of that, we really don't have any staff or members who have tons of experience in this model. So we need to find the experts and rely on the experts. So we've invited James, our clubhouse director. He's come to our clubhouse. We've had other clubhouse directors, other clubhouse staff, other clubhouse members have come and seen our work order day and seen our community, and they've given us feedback. And then what's really cool is we take that feedback, we talk about it as a community, and we decide, hey, what aligns with the culture of our clubhouse? Because we want to recognize the model and we want to support the model. We also want to maintain our own individual culture at Queen City Clubhouse. Next slide, please. And then I also think that I learned that we have to ensure that the clubhouse hires the right people. Rick has been a member pretty much since we opened Queen City Clubhouse. And is definitely a leader in our clubhouse community. And so we've been on a journey together learning what does a really good clubhouse generalist look like? Because if we have really good generalists, then we're going to have a really good clubhouse because we're going to have great support for our members and we're going to be able to work side by side and strengthen each other. So it's capitalizing on our generalist strengths, talents, and abilities. So trying to get generalists to a different accredited clubhouse as quickly as we can, especially with other members from our community who are more established in our community, to see where are they gravitating, what are they liking, what are they learning, so that we can get the buy-in in the model. And then I also think in terms of, well, actually, I'm going to go to the next one. So the clubhouse director, I also must ensure that my community understands why, that our clubhouse community understands why we are doing this. So again, we're sending generalists and colleagues to other clubhouses as often as possible. We've participated in a 2-day training at Dayton Clubhouse. We've also, last December, we initiated independently, we traveled to the Columbus. It was a group of, I think, close to 6 or 8 of us. We traveled together to spend some time in the Columbus Clubhouse and then traveled together to spend almost 2 full days in the Cleveland Clubhouse to, again, get our members and our staff and myself involved in this work order day so that we can really know what exactly that means and take that home to our clubhouse. And then I think it's, again, is so meeting regularly with our coalition. We have a coalition meeting right after this, so that will be exciting to get to join our community. And capitalizing on the aha moment. So helping our whole community to understand the importance of meaningful work. That work needs to be meaningful, not just to keep someone busy. And that meaningful work presents itself. So as long as we are continuing to grow our culture and grow our community, what we need to do is going to be clear. We're actually in the process this week of updating some of our whiteboards, our Clubhouse work unit boards, so that it can reflect that our community is growing and we do have more meaningful work. And I think coming from a different program and transitioning is the biggest thing also is just the power of relationship. That we won't have a community if we just don't start by giving our whole community, myself, members, and staff included, a safe place to feel like they can better themselves, and they can be themselves and they can engage safely in the work ordered day and know that they are respected and that we quite literally can't have a community without each other. And I think another example is the understanding of being able to use Clubhouse membership leadership. Just prior to this meeting, Rick and I spent some time talking about some improvements that we're seeing that we need to make in the Clubhouse. And this cool understanding that it's not just me having to go have some conversations, it's how are we going to do this as a team, right? He's recognizing some things, I'm recognizing some things, and we're going to work together to just keep bettering our community. So that's from my perspective as a Clubhouse director. So if you could go to the next slide. Now Rick is going to give a little bit of his perspective of he went on a 2-day training. He's been there since essentially the beginning. So giving some example of what that has kind of felt like too, also being new like me to the Clubhouse model. So what made you interested in Queen City Clubhouse? Oh yeah. What made you interested in Queen City Clubhouse to begin?
My name is Rick. I'm from Cincinnati, Queen City Clubhouse. And the question
is, what made you interested in Queen City Clubhouse? Why did you decide to join us?
I was invited by a friend. When I first came, I was happily welcomed. The person that took me on the tour was great, and I really enjoyed the morning meetings when they showed me what was going on in the kitchen. It caught my interest because I love cooking. The staff was so nice and they treated me with kindness, and like I was a part of a family.
Nice. And then now to this day, why do you stay so invested, you think? And why are you a leader of our Clubhouse community?
Well, after my stroke, I felt like I had a second chance. I wasn't going to let my stroke or my mental illness stop me from living my life or stop me from enjoying my life. So my stroke made me feel like I had a second chance and made me want to give back. When I went to visit other Clubhouse, I saw their food pantry, which gave me the ideal, which gave me the ideal that led me to starting a food pantry for our members and organizing 3 separate food drives for Ukraine, Florida, and Hawaii.
Nice. And then
also the learning experience were great, in hospitality, programming, and membership. All of them gave me the chance to speak in front of small groups. My favorite of all, learning to speak in front of a large group of people was empowering.
Yes, we presented recently at a conference and Rick was awesome. He just did a fantastic job, which was so cool. And what did you learn from our 2-day trip traveling to Pathway Clubhouse and Magnolia Clubhouse?
What I learned, I didn't see any games. They were all business. I learned about how to reach out and prepare by reading the script. They coached me through it, which really helped while I was there. I also helped teach them about taking care of some of the plants they had at Pathway. Before I went, I didn't really understand what a work order day was, and I got a chance to see full work order days at these other clubhouses. Also at Magnolia, I got to see how their radio station works.
Yep. And then finally is, now that you are part of our community and we are growing and changing, where do you see yourself and where do you see Queen City Clubhouse in the future?
I would like to do training and would love to work for a clubhouse. I know that I can't be hired at a Queen City Clubhouse. I just want to learn and then teach a person about the clubhouse. I really like tours. It's going to take time, but I would like to see us in our own building. And for closing, I just want to say I am so grateful, blessed, and I appreciate being a part of the Clubhouse family.
Yes, we could absolutely not have done what we're doing, especially in such a short period of time, without the support of our coalition. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Natalie and Rick, thank you. And also welcome to our Clubhouse community. What an amazing journey you have been on the last year. It's very inspiring to hear. James, thank you from Clubhouse Ohio for sharing the ways you are coordinating and supporting the rapid growth of clubhouses in your state, going from 3 to 9+ clubhouses in a few years. Takes a lot of hard work, not only currently, but also historically. So we are now moving into our Q&A session. So everyone in the audience has the opportunity to pose questions for our presenters here today. So let's hear from behind the scene if we already have some questions.
Absolutely. Thank you, Anita. For those that have a question you would like to ask, please feel free to submit your questions in the Q&A panel located in the bottom right-hand side of your WebEx screen. Our first question does have two parts to it. How is the coalition work funded? If there is no funding for a dedicated coalition staff, how do you recommend organizing this work?
Okay, I think let's hear from first Clubhouse Norway, how you are funded, and then from Ohio. But let's hear from you, Marta Helena.
Hi. Yeah, we in Norway we are funded from the national sorry we have national funding in Norway from the government.
And do you have some advice or suggestions to coalition that not already has some public funding or national funding to support full-time staff in their coalition?
We have been working very much political to get the fundings from funding from national here. So and we have been working for many years and showing results from the clubhouses have been an important part of that.
Thank you, Marta Helena. And I just want to encourage everyone to check out Fontenehus Norway's website because they are doing a lot of great promotion work on the Clubhouse model in Norway. And some of it is, as far as I know, translated also, or at least with closed captions. James, do you have any, can you talk a little bit about the funding structure in Ohio?
I mentioned it very briefly in my comments. We were able to get some funding under the technical assistance category for in the state of Ohio. So along with that startup funding that the same department provided for the new clubhouses, they also provided to Magnolia to host a technical assistance effort, otherwise known as Clubhouse Ohio. So that's my position, and it's obviously supported and supplemented by Magnolia Clubhouse at the moment. And we're also, I mean, we're of the coalitions, especially the ones that have funding for staff there, and I'll tell you, there's not that many. We're probably one of the newer ones because this funding just came at that same moment last March of last year. So we're it's a top priority. We're looking for that sustainable funding for the coalition as well. So that's just like any other significant effort in a clubhouse. We're looking for ways and I know some coalitions will use membership dues for that. That's a strategy. We're not doing that at the moment because we are sort of new. It's being talked about, but that can help support a staffing position. But right now we're exploring some other strategies for long term, and we believe the state has verbally said they want to continue funding it. We don't know exactly what that's going to look like for the future.
Let me just circle back to you, Marta Helena, because I just have, a few follow-up questions. Are the Norwegian clubhouses paying membership dues to the Norwegian coalition?
Yeah, everyone, all the 22 clubhouses in Norway are paying dues to the Norwegian coalition, and that finance one of the staff here. And we have 4 paid staff in the Norwegian coalition, so the rest is from national government.
Thank you so much. So let's hear the next question.
Thank you. How would you adapt the mentoring system coalition support for established clubhouses in a coalition? And how can we continue to support each other to grow stronger?
Okay, let's see if Fredrikstad has some thoughts on this question. Would you like us to have the questions repeated?
Yeah, it's kind of a big question. The question is how to adapt the model for all clubhouses, right?
Correct. How would you adapt the mentoring system coalition support for established clubhouses in a coalition, and how can we continue to support each other to grow stronger?
I think we have now just been talking about new clubhouses, but it's important that also, you know, in Norway, for example, we have clubhouses that has been established for like 20 years ago, and we are growing into a new kind of running a clubhouse. That's some kind of things that Marta Helena's told us about. It's national campaigns, for example, to collaborate with the municipality and other mental health service systems in the different cities. We have to see to each other to make the quality better and to incorporate the systems that shows good results. So I think to have this as a part of the system in how we work together, just as the structure inside the clubhouse, we also have to have this as a strategy on all levels, both in units, in staff, by directors and the coalition. We have to have it as the kind of work we all do together. And it's as important as running our own clubhouse. I think it's all organizations should have this as a strategy inside their house to adopt this model. And I think it's important to visit each other and we have established a kind of a handbook in new clubhouses in the mentoring model, and this should be known in all clubhouses for use, I think.
Christine, I just want to hear if anyone else wants to chime in and has thought on this question. Okay, can we have one more before we wrap up?
Sure. What advice could you give to a state, country, or region that does not currently have a coalition?
James?
Get one. I think, well, I think figure out a way, you know, and again, there has to be that critical mass. I mean, I've worked in states where there's only one or two clubhouses, and you know, so it's more of a partnership than a coalition, maybe. But I think where it makes the most sense is when you can get the state to see the financial benefit of supporting clubhouses, then you've got the attention of a wide audience. And then I think I saw that happen in Florida during my time there. I've seen it certainly happen here in Ohio. I'm hearing any given month, I'm talking to 3 or 4 other coalitions around the country. So that I think is one of the critical elements, and it's hard to get to that point, but I think if you can set that as your goal, that would be a great place to start if you don't have a coalition already.
Thank you, James. We are running out of time, so we will wrap up here. I'm so sorry we didn't have more time for Q&A, but I want to thank everyone for joining us for this webinar, and thank you to all presenters for sharing ideas and inspiration on how coalition can support and strengthen local clubhouses. I also want to thank IVCI and the team behind the scenes, my colleagues from Fountain House, Genesis Club, and Clubhouse International. And I want to say that if you in the audience are interested in learning more about Clubhouse coalitions, you can check out the Clubhouse International website where we have description on the coalitions. And you can also contact, if you are in a country where there is a coalition, contact your coalition, encourage them to see this webinar we are in here today. It is recorded and it can be found on Fountain House website and Clubhouse International's website. So thank you everyone and have a good day.